Yeah, this is Point Black coming in hard and off the card, coming with the flow straight from the barrio, and coming with that heat from the damn street. This is PBNN, Point Black National News, the late and the great edition, and the ghetto edition as well, because this is what we must do at all times. As we see what's going on in today's world has a lot to do with what's happening everywhere. And most of the cases are now being shown in its entity of its truth of many matters that took place prior in the 2020 um, election. You know what I'm saying? So we know that so many things going on, you know. But one of the things we're looking at here is that we see a judge in the PBN Point Black National News, then late in the Great Edition, with the facts, the crackbacks, and the boom bip to the lioness lips. The heat from the street, the flow from the barrio. This is PBNN, Point Black National News, the late and the great edition, and the ghetto edition as well. Now today we see a judge drop most, but not all counts in the Trump January 6th civil case. You know what I'm saying? Coming in by the Daily Beast. You know what I'm saying? Coming in by the Daily Beast, as we see in more ways than one. You know what I mean? We see coming in by the Daily Beast. Now we see a U.S. District Attorney judge on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? This is a late edition. Be aware of that. You know what I'm saying? Dismiss most of the civil count against the President of the United States, who they cheated out of his reelection, and several others. For their alleged role in the death of U.S. police officer Ryan Stedfane. So we know that. You know what I'm saying? But the judge seemed to have in this matter, you know what I'm saying, when we look at it, Judge Sandra Gaza, whatever her name, filed a lawsuit in January alleging the wrongful death of the conspiracy to violate the civil rights, two counts of negligence under the anti-riot law. But how can the riot law apply when the investigation still hasn't shown its true colors in itself? You know what I'm saying? Much of these charges were brought up before the public ever seen the true evidence or the true tapes or the true videos of what really took place in the White House and so on. Now it seems to be revealing because now everybody knows that the Biden administration and the even Democrats altogether is full of shit. You know what I'm saying? And talking about insurrection and arguing under, whether or not he was an officer or not is not the case. You know what I'm saying? The case of the matter is did he actually cause the insurrection? There is no in between or investigation, and why was the investigation and all these different investigations of matters took place prior to after it really took place after he left the office. You know what I'm saying? And brought and most of the direction of the attention is on Donald J. Trump when it comes to even him not being in office as he was cheated out to be of his reelection. So the question in the matter would not be whether or not he's an officer or was he an officer or was he playing a role or whatever the case may be while he was under the oath and command. No, he was not. He had left office and whatever the transfer took place didn't take or whatever. But P. Joe Biden got into the chief of commander seat by cheating, and Donald Trump was not in office anymore. So for him to be brought up on these many charges by demon democratical governmental workers does not speak much for the chief in command who, in other words, sent down these type of orders or investigation took place after he left office shows the trickery in the game. So if the matter is an insurrection, why isn't all the evidence brought into the table until now? You know what I'm saying? And why hasn't the judge let go of all the conspiracy in the matter as a whole? So when we look at the next set of jump over here with this jump, we see here where, in this matter, CNN News Jake Trapper, you know what I'm saying, whatever his name is, Pedros or whatever. I don't give a damn. Trump ballot, Trump ballot bans appeal. Never seen it's never seen a president actually trying to foment violence. Coming in by Mr. Christopher here, but we see here in this matter where we have in itself, the CNN anchor Trapper, offers a more syndicate or whatever response to the news that former uh, no news of Trump, the president of the United States, fuck your former, launch a appeal of his ban from the presidential ballot, and he shouldn't have had to do that in no state. So we know the states that are doing that is under demon democratical control, which leads to outside entities, Christianity, and all types of other ideologies in the people who are in the spot that has brought that into our government. Now, many people speak of an insurrection. Now, the insurrection was directed towards, in more ways than one, I guess, by the Republicans, or people in office at that time, mostly probably Republicans, that told the Demon Democrats if they want to participate or stay within the Union, they would have to denounce their criminality. Now, in that matter, in an insurrection, we have seen for the last 75 to almost 40 something years now, within this time, the atrocities that were caused by Damon Democratical Democrat bullshit fucking con- uh, 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 infiltration of our government. So the insurrection that was put there to keep the Southern boys or the Southern generals and different people of government in check, that line has been long time crossed. So therefore, the true insurrection of it all is not just the Republicans or Republicans at all. Maybe it may be a filiation of infiltration based on the different type of people who are in or got into the Republican Party or was a part of the Republican or even the ones that formed the Republican Party. So insurrection had been taking place on probably both sides in all ways. So when we look at today, when we look at the insurrection that they're talking about, had been long time crossed again by the demon democratical Confederate side group and its Luciferian and its ideologies brought into the government. So when you talk about an insurrection, that means that every single demon Democrat, probably going all the way back to Albert Pike, and many of them, Demon James Polk, and all these different crooked ass suckers that were jumping back and forth saying Republican Democrats and all this bullshit, should have been in fucking jail and probably executed based on the laws at that time. So when you speak about an insurrection that you said you put into place in the Constitution to keep out the Confederates and those who were part of that rebel group, you know what I'm saying? You let them come in and cross the line again. So the insurrection had already taken place many years ago, many times from the past to the present, and we're now going into the so-called what they call the future, which is the same day to me. But at the same time, they have already crossed it 100 times. So, what insurrection could you possibly be talking about? But we see Trapper. He offers a cynical, whatever you want to call it, response to that the President, Donald J. Trump, launched an appeal from his ban in Maine. And Maine should be ashamed of their damn self as well. You know what I'm saying? When we look at the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? But when we look at Trump has now been banned from the Republican presidential primary ballots in 2 states, Colorado and who? Maine. You know what I'm saying? So we see now where we have a follow fashion monkey game that's being played that does not make any sense. And it makes those 2 states look worse than they think they look good. And it only goes to show their affiliation in what we just spoke about on the grounds that he violated the 14th Amendment by engaging in an insurrection. That insurrection took place by the Confederate and the Demon Democratical group that was created before, probably even during the Civil War, all the way in the political game. You know what I'm saying? And once you allow them in under the Constitution, they continue down the same road of infiltration, corruption, chaos, murder, war, pedophilia, sex trafficking, and every crime you could possibly think of this side of the world, and now wants to allow all foreign enemies to destroy us from the inside out. So therefore, the insurrection is not on Trump. The insurrection had already taken place 100 times. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell me it ain't so. You know what I'm saying? And we know who they're all affiliated with. We don't have to call all their names because we just call them by one name, the deep state. You know what I'm saying? And many of those who are involved in the very corruption and the destruction of human life here on planet Earth, which doesn't make much sense to me. And while you are calling an insurrection, the investigation in any of the insurrection in all the demon democratical schematical games that they have played on this nation and destroyed many American lives, you know what I'm saying, should be on the table as well. On Tuesday edition, you know, see in Lion Ass News, you know what I'm saying, the Tuesday edition led Trapper, you know what I mean, lead Trapper led a discussion on breaking news that Trump's team is appealing Maine's ruling. I would as well because the ruling that Maine has put forward along with Colorado is a racist one. Mhm. We are going down the racist road. You know what I'm saying? Because no politician or no one in government that has not been truly proven in any factual or actual, you know what I'm saying, even complete both parties in itself, none of them should be banning anyone from public office because you all are crooks somewhere along the line. But we see here where you're trying to ban Donald J. Trump from the ballot in Maine and Colorado. That doesn't make sense. No state should be banning anyone from a ballot once the ballot and that for it is legitimate ballot based on him having the right to run a fair one-on-one face-to-face election. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, we know the scheme has already taken place in the fact of keeping Donald J. Trump from office all the way back to the insurrection in Nancy Pelosi and her garbage. You know what I'm saying? So we don't give a flying fuck what Maine has to say or Colorado because you're full of shit. You're a lying son of a bitch and you down with the stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? We see Chicago, you know what I'm saying, in itself, you know what I'm saying, turns back migrant bus. Chicago and other large cities are looking for ways to stop migrants from taking up residence. You know what I'm saying? And this is what's going to happen because what they have done with this whole situation is they have brought them in so they can create a new voting group. They also can call them dreamers so they can't be prosecuted based under the Dreamer Act or asylum seeker. Notice the language in which they use in order to legitimize a reason for the fluctuation, saying that they don't do this. Now, how can the American people not see that the fact that the border was is it should be secure? And that they're supposed to just let any set of migrants, crooks, terrorists, anybody, what they want to call terrorists, all over wanting revenge on the United States, setting up cells and everything in the United States right now to cause what they call their holy apocalypse. Don't give me that bullshit with their clapped lips. You know what I'm saying? But we see at the same time, they want to sit here and act as if like the fluctuation at the border and what took place with the what took place with um, the border crisis is something that we should be sitting up here glorifying in any shape or form or even looking at. You know what I'm saying? It's something that needs to be taken care of because we know full well the violation and the violation on the United States American citizens has already taken place by the Democrats by opening the border and letting everybody in. You know what I'm saying? Unaccounted for, definitely not checked, not vetted out, and none of these different things, given all the quality of money and everything, your taxpayers' dollars in order to make sure that they this and that under the fact of Dreamer and Asylum. So they're telling you that you're going to fund this corruptive shit that they're trying to fill up all the democratic cities so they can have the voice and the vote for the next 100 years and become our dictator and fucking, literally create us into a laboratory fucking farm. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when we look at this from that perspective, you know what I'm saying? Why was the border left open for millions of people and why was it acceptable by a president who's supposed to be protecting the nation? You know what I'm saying? Where was the protection from the nation by using a schematical language stating dreamers and asylum seekers, you know what I'm saying? You flood this country with every single crook in the book, probably. You know what I'm saying? But how can the American people not stand up and back up many of the border patrol and the border police to man the border at all costs and make sure that all things went well as far as this rush on the border. Once the rush on the border was created based on the fact of Creep Joe Biden and his schematical, demon, democratical garbage and Luciferian Baphomet and affiliation with every other Mohammed Zionist group and whoever else, you know what I'm saying, to bring about this holy apocalypse in our country. You know what I'm saying? With all these people rushing into the country, why wasn't the border secure? Who has borders that's wide open, that's unsecure, that even your very enemies that the demon Democrats have infiltrated our government and created, you know what I'm saying, all these enemies, and then now you let them in from every side, every which a way, every habit, because these people have a way of blaming everybody for the bullshit that the demon Democrats have done to the world. These old fucking farts that should have been kicked out of government years ago. You know what I'm saying? But we see where involving busing migrants to the north region of suburbs, so I know busing to the suburban communities near Chicago and New York City are voicing their concerns about the strain it would put on their resources and infrastructure. Well, that's what they wanted to do, and that's what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? And they are not funding. Where's the money supposed to be funding for these people? You know what I'm saying? You keep talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars, but you created this situation, and now you are bleeding the American people's pockets dry where they need the money for the prosperity of the American people, not foreigners. So where is all this money going to wars? You see what I'm saying? And I said that in the very beginning that when the demon Democrats get into office, this is what they do. They create wars, they create all types of scenarios and chaos, and all we see is our money going left, right, left, and every which way but in your fucking pocket. So the American people are sitting here with protests and crying when you should have elected the right people in office many years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's putting, and yes, it is putting a strain on our structure. 4.9 billion people. Oh yeah, coming into the country. Oh yes, as we see protests driven act began last year when Governor Abbott upset. He was upset with the federal government stand on illegal immigration, initiated the transportation of migrants to various North American locations. You see what I'm saying? And still shipping them in today. You know what I'm saying? Such suburban areas outside of Chicago, New Jersey, New York, and many other demon democratical cities as well. Grappling with it. They ain't grappling with shit. How you gonna grapple with something that your administration that you follow and going under James just like Letitia James and Adams and fucking not crazy Braggs and all these different people and Fannie Wills and all of them are part of a demon democratical Luciferian group. Say they are part of an organization that is bound to keep our country under democratical rule. Saying under democratical garbage and have been convinced that this is the right thing to do. Saying? When your borders are wide open for anyone to come in here and kill you. So you need to start to pay attention as people in America and what you are doing and where your vote is going to go. We see California became the first state to offer health insurance to all illegal migrants. Taxpayers will be forced to fork up 3.1 billion per year in medical care for an extra 7,000 people, 700,000 people. You see what I'm talking about? But he's using the phrase, even Schumer said it, that the American people, this is what he's saying, American people are not producing anymore. They're just sitting around, they're doing this. Well, who made it that way? Who made it that they don't produce? Who made it that this is the way it is what the question is. Is what the question is. Who made it that way? You see what I'm saying? It's what the serious question of the matter is. Hold on one second, people.